Well, hello, EKN Nation. How are you today? This is Rob Howden for a new edition of Face to Face. I'm solo here today. David Cole, a well-deserved vacation away from the EKN studio and the EKN office. So it'll be me, myself here today. And again, looking forward to this particular show of Face to Face, our 69th episode, as we're going to be talking to Chris Kardashian from the Route 66 Sprint Series. Obviously, a lot of excitement around this program. Chris getting ownership over the off season, a lot of new ideas. We did a two-part one-on-one interview with him late last year with a lot of really cool concepts and the way they're going to approach things. But yeah, this is a new edition of the show. I'll be producing this by myself. So let me fire this up here, throw this out here with questions. If you have any questions for Chris, feel free. Questions, comments, whatever you may have throughout the show, throw them up in the comments. I'll have a look at it and I'll be able to bring it in here as well. If you're watching this for the first time and joining us here on YouTube, make sure you give us a follow. Subscribe to the channel. We have a ton of stuff lined up. This is one of our EKN Prime Time shows at 7 o'clock here Eastern Time. We're going to be having more shows like this, kind of prime time shows in the evening, probably once a week, I would bet. You know, we do our This Week in Karting shows and a lot of, of course, our podcasts with debriefs and outlaps. And we've got a new roundtable discussion we're going to bring in here soon. But this is one of the shows that you're going to have on a regular basis, usually on a Tuesday or a Wednesday evening. Let's bring Chris in right now. Might as well bring the guest in. Dave's not here for me to banter back and forth. So, Chris, great to have you with us here at Face to Face. Thanks for taking some time out of your evening.
Hey, Rob. Thank you for having me. And no hard questions from anybody. Just easy ones.
Listen, folks, if you can, lob them down the middle, please. We'd like to have a nice soft one down the middle that Chris can knock out of the park.
Yeah, but really, any questions? It's all good.
Well, that's what this is about. This is really kind of a fact-finding mission. This is going to give you the opportunity to talk to people. We're going to anybody can always come back and watch this on YouTube as well, which is great. We'll make sure we have the link out there tomorrow. But Chris, let's get started. I think the first thing is, obviously, people have known about the Route 66 Sprint Series. It's been around a long time. I don't know exactly how many years, 20 plus, it's 20 years or something like that, isn't it? Was it the Midwest Sprint Series before that?
It was Midwest Sprint Series before.
It's been around forever.
It has. And that's one question I can't answer. I don't know when it started.
I don't even know.
I just don't want it to end with me. So
no, well, listen, you got things to do. Let's start with this. Obviously, for those of you who may not know, it's a series that has been around the Midwest for many years. This year, it's going to be in two states, both Indiana and Wisconsin, for 4 races, 4-race weekends. Before we even get into the schedule and the lineup of classes, what made a racing dad, because your son Alex obviously races and has raced in many years past, what motivated you to decide you were going to buy a racing series?
Yeah, I should be more prepared to answer that question because I get asked it a lot.
I bet.
There really isn't one thing I can point to.
Okay.
I retired in 2022 from my day job, and I was kind of planning it for a while, and everybody said, you're going to get bored. You're going to get bored, right? I'm probably a little bit high strung and I got to keep busy, keep going. And so many people told me that I got to do something. So, what do? You try and follow something along your passion. So I love karting. I've tried to be involved in karting in different ways. With the whole retirement thing, I was looking for something else to do in karting. I think the stars were aligned with Mark. He's obviously growing USBKS a lot, doing an awesome job there. And I think the stars aligned that it made sense. I'll tell you the other piece of this that's always mattered to me, the life lessons. I think karting brings family together.
Agreed.
And anytime the family's together, there's really a lot of teaching opportunities. People have heard me talk about it over and over again, both as me being a race director or involved in the sport in different ways, but it's about respect. I can't open up an email, talk to a race team without somebody complaining about the driving on track. Right now, there's an effort to do a press release with a bunch of different organizations, tracks, race teams, just about cleaning up the driving. So that's always been a passion for me, is respect on track, respect off track. So when you look at those 3 things, the fact that I have a passion for the sport, I was retired, I didn't want to be bored, although clearly all that advice I got probably wasn't so good, because I'm not bored. I got more on my plate than I can handle. So I think that's really the combination of those three things.
You know, I would say, Chris, because I've been in the sport for 25, 27 years now as well. Some people may have called you crazy, but in my mind, if you're retiring and I think it's a great idea, to be honest, because you're still very into it. You connect with the industry. It's not a one-on kind of show. And I've said this. People ask me about. They always ask me what kind of a day I'm having at the racetrack. I said my days are always great. It's never too high. It's never too low. I don't feel, I'm not there for that, the thrill of victory, but I'm never there for the agony of defeat either. I just get to enjoy the race weekend. So yeah, you'll deal with a lot of BS. People will be chirping at you, but ideally, if things are done right, you're going to be more enjoying, people saying, "Hey, thank you so much for what you've done." So I understand completely getting into it as a series owner. It's only 4 weekends, but people don't realize how much work it takes to put 4 race weekends on. Am I correct with that?
Yeah. So, so Jill Dean is my operations manager. She's kind of replaced what Tim Coyan was doing for Mark. And I told Jill, I bet 100 times, Jill, it's only 4 races. How hard can this be? Well, we're a month away, and we still got things to get squared away. So yeah, it is hard. Honestly, for us, it's hard because there's a lot of things we don't know. Yeah. I think once we get to that first event,
that makes sense.
Going to Newcastle, established track, Mike Adams, he's going to help us. We'll be all right. But yeah, it's only 4 events. How hard can it be?
Look, I want to preface this too. Folks, just so you know, we'll get into the schedule, work our way through the schedule. We'll talk about the class structure and the way it's been turned around a little bit, and then we'll talk about some of the focuses Chris has with class structure. We're also going to go into the weekend format, talk about tire rules. We're going to kind of give you a lot of information that has come out over the last little while about the Route 66 Sprint Series. But I think I wanted to take this opportunity because, like you said, you're new to this. I want to introduce you to a lot of people, coast to coast that may not know you. I know you've already had an interview on Kart Chaser. We're trying to do the same thing with EKN Nation here. And where I want to go with it, because I think this is key. You've been the father, right? You've been a racer's dad. So you've been on that side of the coin already. And I think that a lot of times when some people come in as just a promoter, or maybe they're a racer themselves, you kind of raced yourself a little bit for a short amount of time, but you mainly spent the time with your son, Alex. For me, you're going to have that understanding of what the families are thinking when you're trackside. And I think that is such a valuable perspective to be able to have as a promoter.
I really couldn't tell you other promoters what their background is. But for me, yeah, I'm a dad. And in fact, Alexander still races, right? Yep. We raced Super Nats. He's going to race the whole Route 66 season, I hope. That's my wish. He called me up a couple of days ago, and he's really anxious to race at our local club too. So we're trying to figure out how to do it where he's racing a Route 66 and either a club race the weekend before or the weekend after. So clearly I have the perspective of a racer dad. And I would say to everybody out there that's a racer mom or dad, I will always understand what motivates you, what excites you, and what frustrates you. Because it's the same things I have. If somebody leaves the track and they're not in a good mood, do I have to ask you or anybody else that's listening to this why they're upset?
Yeah.
Their kid got knocked off the track, right? Something happened. It's always goes back to that word respect. So I don't want to get too deep and serious on this, but I really want to improve the on-track driving. I've talked to some IndyCar teams. They don't like what they see. They don't like all the banging. They don't want that.
I work in that industry. Trust me. I work in that series. Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's crazy racing. Yeah.
So they don't like it. And I think that there's a dream that probably every kid has to race at a higher level. The fact that I'm a regional series, I think that I'm that stepping stone from the club before the national.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can start teaching those lessons about respect on the track today, then I think that's going to help at the national level, and we can create champions that are deserving.
I like
so that. I've got the will to make those calls. Maybe it will be popular, maybe it won't. But if I don't have parents leaving at the end of the weekend saying that's the last dollar I'm going to spend with X, Y, or Z series, then I think I've accomplished something.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. All right, so let's dive into the program itself. I'll kind of go through the schedule for people, and then we can kind of go through the events, and you can talk about what you're excited about for each event. We're only about 6 weeks away, May the 19th to the 21st, the week before Memorial Day weekend, Newcastle Motorsports Park. You mentioned you'll be there with Mike Adams and the whole Dismore family there. Fantastic people. Plug and play normally to go in because they know their stuff. I've been working with Mike for over 20 years, I think, back in the Stars of Karting days, and he knows his stuff for sure. And again, as I said, Indiana and Wisconsin. So we started in Indiana. We come back to Wisconsin to Briggs & Stratton Motorplex at Road America. I love that racetrack. I love the whole facility, but the kart track is amazing. That is July the 7th, 8th, and 9th, first week of July. Then we go to August, middle of August, the 11th to 13th. We are back to Indiana to Whiteland Raceway Park. Sarah Fisher and Andy O'Gara have put so much money into that place. I actually rented a garage there because I was so excited about what they're doing. Amazing what they've done there. So you're taking this Route 66. There's this big regional program to Whiteland, which I think is amazing. And then you'll wrap things off September 8th, 9th, and 10th. Really one of the legendary racetracks, I think, in all of American karting, and that's Dousman. Millwright Raceway, the Badger Kart Club. It's been around forever. So May, July, August, September, good spread on the dates as well. You know, you're not racing in June, you're not racing in August, but a good spread on the dates. Let's just kind of go one by one through. Let's start with your excitement and get ready to go to Newcastle because let's be real, you're starting at one of the premier facilities in North American karting.
Yeah, I mean that was a no-brainer. I mean, first of all, when you're from Minnesota, you know in the month of May it can snow, and actually last year. Route did race at Newcastle. I think it was at the end of April, and it snowed there.
Wow.
So, you know, if I want to have decent weather, Newcastle's the place to go. But really for us, goes back to it's our first event. There's a lot for us to learn. Mike Adams, incredible, right? Yeah. So supportive. Timing and scoring, he's just told me, don't worry about it, Chris, right? The things that keep me up at night, registration, which we should talk about, by the way, today. One of us should make a note. We got to talk about that. But registration and timing and scoring keep me up at night. And Mike I'm going to be in there the whole time. Don't worry about it. I got it. So that kind of attitude and teamwork, right? He does not want to see us fail. And
no,
and I'm close to the Dismore family. They're a huge partner of mine in a lot of ways. It's a perfect place to do it. The weekend before the 500, it's just the timing of it worked out perfect.
I love it. From there, you go again back to Road America, as I said. Again, that's the first week of July, I think. Yeah, right. Since the first week of July,
Trans Am weekend. So
it's a car weekend.
It's a car. So you're gonna. I mean, most people are hearing this. We're gonna focus on fun, right? We're all there to race.
Yep.
But we're going to have fun too. And the Road America weekend was really important for me. And I think it was important to Road America as well, because the Trans Am is a fun event.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're piggybacked on Trans Am weekend.
That is amazing. I love that. That's fantastic. August 11th to the 13th down to Whiteland. We kind of talked about it a little bit there. They poured so much money into that track. It's been around for 60 something years as well. I think the longest running racetrack, I think, in the sport at this point, continually running racetrack. All the work they've done to that place. One of your primary partners and big supporters, MPG Motorsports as well, is now putting their shop in there, a big garage there as well. So
AMAX too, right?
And AMAX Racing,
AMAX and MPG.
That's right. I talked to Brandy about that. That's huge.
They both stepped up. I know you're going through schedule, but I'll tell you, there are two awesome examples. So I originally, before I bought this thing, I talked to 4 people, and I won't go through all the detail, but I'll give you the quick short version.
Yep.
Talked to Lemke. His answer was it was no fun. Okay, so that's one of my pillars. We're going to make this thing fun. Next guy I talked to was Chase Jones. Too expensive for regional racing, too much time away for the team, too much time away for the mechanics, too much time away for the drivers. So that was the second conversation I had. So what did we do? We're shortening up the event. We're trying to drive costs out. The third guy, and by the way, Chase told me, I was asking him for some advice. he said, Chris, I'll tell you, but I'm also going to tell you we're not racing Route 66 next year. And he's now a partner for
They're
us
now partners.
in the series,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And AMAX, so AMAX was the third. Charles and his wife Brandy were the third people I talked to. They didn't see a value as a partner / sponsor. They didn't feel they were getting a good value. He actually upped his investment. He's now going to be a title sponsor.
That's awesome.
In 2023. And then the fourth one goes back to the whole idea of respect. Josh Holtz, though, and his concern was his drivers that were mid-pack and all the banging around that they were getting. Those were literally the first four people I talked to, and they basically created the pillars from what we're basing the foundation of what we're going to try and do. Anyway, so
let me add this in here, because so if you're watching this on YouTube right now, when it gets done and we're all wrapped up here, I'll put the link to the 2-part article that we did. We did that interview with you back in, I think it was November, where you talked about all your pillars. I'll link that down there because it's a really good in-depth kind of on your focus on what you're doing, right? Kind of the pillars of what you're doing. We'll tag to that as well, because that's, like you said, the minute you did this, you went out and said, "Hey, you guys are my customer base. This is you're the community. Tell me what's going on." And anytime you can get input like that and really sit down and talk to somebody and get some input, you can make some really valuable changes, like you've already done, I think.
Yeah, but to the schedule, there's a lot of people who would like to race at some different tracks. I had to make a decision about where we're going to race, and honestly, it wasn't hard. What I did is I looked at what are the clubs and who are the clubs that are investing in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
If a club is investing in the sport, then I should be investing in them. And if there's a club that's not investing, then I shouldn't. Who's investing right now, today, more than Andy O'Gare and Sarah Fisher?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that track is doubling in length. The whole thing's being repaved. The whole property is being expanded with garages and buildings and RV parking and electrical service and new lights. I mean, it is staggering.
Yeah.
What they've done. So yeah, I am super excited about all 4 venues. I didn't know a damn thing about Whiteland, but it didn't take more than about 10 minutes with Andy sitting in my bus.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, we're racing there.
That's awesome.
Anyway, and then the 4th event obviously is Dousman. They just repaved the whole facility other than the new section. So they're always investing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and listen,
awesome events.
David Cole and I talk about this ad nauseum. I know people get bored of it, but regional series they're designed to run the classes that are run at the club level, right? And so you're running KA, you're running Briggs. That's what you're going to see at Road America, at Dousman, at Whiteland, at Newcastle. So this is key, man. This is the idea is to, if you do if everything works well, you draw the best 10 guys and girls from each category, from each of those races. There should be 40 drivers in every one of your classes. If the top 10 club racers want to go regional racing, it's only 4 weekends, like you said. Boom, that's what that in a perfect world is what it should be.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's exactly what we want.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Pull the top 10 from those clubs.
Yeah,
and train them, teach them for that next level, and have the family fun. Right. I'm sure we'll talk about the classes, but we're really going to be focused on kid carts.
Yeah.
I want the whole family to be there.
Let's roll on it. We're going to roll right into class structure right now. Let's go kid carts, because I think that's one of your key things right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important to me. We have to see if the families with the kids are going to come out or not. But the whole idea is to bring some family fun to the series. I think that our tagline, I shouldn't say I think, but great tracks, great racing, great fun. That's our premise, right?
Yeah.
So if the family is going to come, and if we want to be a family event, there's older kids, there's younger kids. And a lot of these families have kids that are in kid carts, but they generally don't take them to a regional or to a national. There's probably different reasons. Number one, it's expensive, but we're dropping the price down pretty significantly to get into the kid kart class. We're also not going to have it be exhibition. It's going to be a championship class.
There have been a lot of people asking for that. Yep.
Yeah, same trophies, right? So we're going to have big trophies for first place and smaller trophies down to fifth place. And I believe that if we focus on that class, we promote it, we work with the clubs, we price it right, hopefully we can bring people in, and now the whole family can have fun together.
When we start rolling into a couple things, weekend format and tire rules, folks, you're going to hear a little bit more about the affordability and the changes that have been made that Chris is doing. And again, I got Chris Kardashian with me, the owner and promoter of the Route 66 Sprint Series. Let's look at the class structure. 4-cycle, 2-cycle. Essentially, it's Briggs 206, and it's the Swift engines and the KA100 engines for Miami. You're running the kid karts. You're running a 206 Sportsman, Junior, and Senior.
Yeah,
and then you're also running the Micro and Mini Swift in the 2-cycle plus KA100 Junior, Senior, and you have a KA100 Masters category, which I love. I don't care if it's on a 206 Masters. At least there's a Masters category there because a lot of Masters drivers I think are going to enjoy running a national series. And there's some great groups of KA100 Masters up there. You know, Badger being one of them. A ton of drivers.
Yeah, you're right. And some of our sponsors, partners, are big into the KA Masters. I just got to get one guy to sign up to race KA Masters, and I'm perfect. I'm home free. You know who that is?
Who's that?
Rob Howden.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, you know how busy my schedule.
Yeah. I need to get you to come join us for an event.
I'll look at my schedule.
I'll give you an engine.
I'll pay. Yeah, we'll figure something. All right, we'll figure something out. I'll look at it.
I
would love to. You know how much I would love to, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd love 100%. To have you there.
So, do you want to go through your sponsors? Because I'm looking down at your class structure, and man, everybody's sponsored. You got people on board, which makes me really happy.
Yeah. So this is always hard for me to talk about the partners. It isn't just my series.
No,
the series, the sport wouldn't exist without these people investing. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you, everybody that's invested in us, our title sponsors are MG, IAME, Franklin, AMAX, Millwright, Mills Pallet. Here's the cool thing, and I'll as I go through our other partners, a lot of these guys aren't race shops. They're just guys like you and me who have a passion for the sport, and they say, what can I do to help?
I love that.
And they're putting their own money into it, right? The Millwright, Mills Pallet, they're putting their own money into it. Allison, BBS, QuickSim, that's Bill Lemke, right? So one of the things I need to ask everybody is, if you're building a swimming pool and you live in Wisconsin, damn it, you got to call Lemke. Right?
That's it, right?
It's the right thing to do. Millrock is joining us. Kart Circuit Autobahn. So maybe that's a bit of an unusual one, right? He hasn't done any kind of a partnership with the series, at least not with Route 66, but he's trying to build a club at that facility.
Yep.
At Joliet. And when I talked to them, I said, there's nobody who's going to promote your series like I am. We will promote that series all day long, and we will encourage our racers to go check out your place. So, right. So we really want to make this thing work both ways. Mac Paving, Brian McAndrews. He and I chatted. He said, hey, I want to partner with you. What can I do? Right. He doesn't have a race shop. Whiteland Raceway Park, One Power Sports, MPG, the Chase Jones, Mike Doty Racing, Perkins Construction, B&B Electric, D&J, Joe Tobel, Holtz Driver Development, Technokart, Kart Lift, Comet Kart Sales, Elf Oil, Branding Speed. They've got Fritz Wilkie's got a book. It's a great book. We'll sell the book through the series, but it's all about promoting yourself. The Coleman family, Briggs and Stratton, BP Racing Fuel. Yeah, we've got a lot of people that have, and we need more.
Yeah.
We still need more.
Do you have room for more?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we're going to, this whole idea of having the the Badger Cup Challenge and the Hoosier Cup Challenge.
You and I talked about that
I
before
know.
we came on air. Let's.
You want me to wait?
No, let's do it right now. Like I said, we're going to get into the weekend format and tire rails after, but we now that we've talked about the schedule, 2 Indiana, 2 Wisconsin. So talk about this kind of a pair of 2-race mini series you've got going on.
That's right. So look, this is about fun. You guys are going to get tired of me saying it. We're going to do a lot of things. Some of them are probably stupid, but we're going to have not 1, not 2, not 3, but probably 4 inflatables at Newcastle. I don't know that we'll have 4 inflatables at every track, but again, things for the kids to play with. There's a lot of other things we're going to do in the area of games and awards and things like that. But one of the things that we want to do just to create some more fun is to create a bit of a mini series within the overall championship. Because we have 2 races in Indiana and 2 races in Wisconsin, we're going to create that mini cup challenge or the mini championship just for the 2 Wisconsin races and for the 2 Indiana races. And these will be pretty special trophies, right? They'll be like a championship level trophy.
Yeah.
And that will be based on whoever gets the most points for those 2 races in Indiana and whoever scores the most points for the 2 races in Wisconsin. Just something else look, to this day, I love winning trophies, right? Or my kid loves winning trophies. Trophies are fun, right? You get a collection of them. So we're not racing for a lot of money here. So we race for trophies. But the other thing that we'll do, because I am very, very committed to both the 206 and to the Miami program, in the senior category for 206 and the senior category for Miami, we will have some prize money.
You're going to put some money up. Cool.
Yep. For those 2 classes only, for whoever wins that mini championship. So no one's going to retire on it, but we're looking at somewhere around $550 for first, $275 for second, and a set of tires for third. So, you'll also see as we talk about pricing and registration, our registration price will be lower in 2023 than it was in 2022. And that's really not an easy thing to do.
Wow.
But the deal on that is if you sign up for 2, 3, or 4 events, then the price will be lower.
I was just going to ask you, do you have a full package price available?
Yeah, it's $255 per event if you sign up for 2, 3, or 4. And then if you do 2 classes, the second class will be discounted by $50.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
2 things that we didn't do in the past with route.
Yeah.
So I'm not selling tires, right? This is a lot of people that have been consultants to me have said, Chris, you got to sell tires. The series has got to sell tires. You know that,
it's
right?
the common thought right now, 100%.
Right.
And it's a revenue stream. It really is. If you're not going to do it, that's going to, it's going to help the shops around you.
But if I sell tires, then all those race teams that are investing in the series, then they're not going to sell tires. So how is that right? Right? They're investing in me, and then I'm taking money out of their pocket. So I'm extremely committed to the race teams, the race shops, to have their business be profitable. And if I take away the tire sales, I'm not helping that cause. So we're not going to sell tires. We're going to figure out a way to drive costs down, even though I'm not selling some of those accessory items.
So let's talk tires first. I mean, that's the way to go then at this point here. So correct me if I'm wrong. A max 2 set of drives for the weekend. If you're in the 4-cycle category, if you're in the 2-cycle category, 1 set for practice. They don't have to be new. So you can do a new or used, right? You can bring used tires to practice on. And we'll talk about the practice again, because Friday's only a half day of practice on Friday, and then practice in the morning again on Saturday as well. You can travel Friday morning. You don't need to travel Thursday. It's about shortening these days, which I think is awesome. Make it a little easier. But you do so for qualifying the 2 heats and the main event. You for 2 cycle, you start with a fresh set of tires in qualifying, new tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to start with new tires.
So you're right. So in 2 cycle, you'll qualify on new tires. We're going to a 1 event format, but the number of laps that we're going to have will be the same, hopefully more than a 2 event format. So I'm not worried about tires, and I don't think anybody else is. We had no problems running an MG Red in a KA senior class for a weekend.
And everybody's on the same tires anyways. I like tire management.
That's right.
Even if you have to. I like that. Now,
that's right. The key is practice, right?
Yes.
So hell or high water, we're driving costs out of this program.
Yeah.
And we're driving the cost out by eliminating a Wednesday practice and a Thursday practice. And oh, by the way, do you think any racetrack right now is happy with me? That we're
not for that, on that part.
No, right? Yeah. They want people to be practicing Wednesday, Thursday. But if we're going to grow the numbers, if we're going to grow the sport, we got to shorten the weekend. So in 2 cycle, and I'll make this very clear, don't bring 3 or 4 or 5 sets of tires, because we will scan practice tires. You get a set of practice tires for 3 rounds of practice on Friday, and there's 3 rounds of practice on Saturday. You don't have to do
one set.
One set for practice. And if I do that, I'm going to get people coming from the clubs to come race because they can afford it.
Agreed.
And that set for practice does not need to be new. In 2 cycle, probably a lot of guys will have new tires, but at least it's 2 sets, right? Everybody in KA Junior and KA Senior and KA Masters would put on a new set for happy hour at a minimum.
Yep.
And if we had practice all day Thursday, you got a set for practice on Thursday. You have a set of practice for Friday. You have a 3rd set for happy hour. You have a 4th set for qualifying. So I just cut the tire bill by 50%.
Exactly that. Yep. You
in
did. And in 4 cycle, you don't even your 4 cycle. You can do used tires all weekend if you want, right?
You can come in with 1 set of used or new and race it for the whole weekend. You do not need to start with new tires for quali in 4 cycle.
In 4 cycle. Okay. Very interesting.
I think that the tires, I think we've chatted about this in the past. Tires used to be, they've always been over $200.
Yep.
They're $230 or whatever they are, but it's still call it, by the time you pay sales tax, you're paying $250 for a set of tires. If you have 4 sets of tires, that's $1,000.
$1,000. Yeah.
And,
you're right.
And if I've had some pushback from some people, some racers, they say, well, why can't we have a 3rd set of tires? Why can't we this? Why can't we have that? And my answer is, go talk to F1. Go talk to IndyCar. See if those people have limits on tires. They do.
Yeah, they do.
There's not a racing series that doesn't limit, but karting, at least through my experience, there's never been a limit on tires.
No, you could literally go to any of the USPKS SCUSA and just throw tires and practice all day long. You can easily do that. It doesn't help you that much, but you could obviously do it.
Yeah, and guess who's done that, right? We ran 2 classes at SCUSA. I think we went with 10 sets of tires plus rain tires.
Yep.
So yeah, you know what my tire bill was.
Exactly.
What did it get me?
So, okay, so we talked about that. So you've already said this, half day of practice on Friday, so people can drive in on Friday morning, half day of practice on Friday.
2 o'clock start ballpark.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, and then practice again on, because we have a question here. I'm going to bring this in. So John Pole, I think it is, Pole. He says, how can you have more laps with 1 less race per weekend? Now, it's pretty easy to do. You take the laps, and because you guys are doing qualifying, 2 heat races, and a final, right?
Yeah, so technically there's qualifying, there's shootout qualifying.
Well, we got to get to the shootout too.
Yeah, because that's part of the fun factor.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, there'll be warm-up, heat race, and a final. So basically we knock out qualifying on Sunday, right? Now we can use that time to lengthen all the races. We will have longer races, period. Absolutely. And here's the other thing that longer races do. It's more fun for the drivers, but I think it's going to help eliminate some of the bonsai moves that people make at the beginning or throughout the race, right? If a race is 8 laps or 6 laps, if it's a longer track, everybody feels the need, if they had a bad qualifying or some bad heat, to make bonsai moves. Let's give the people more time to use racecraft and move their way up.
You eliminate
definitely longer races.
You eliminate the urgency.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly.
Really,
that's the right word to use. Eliminate the urgency.
So practice a short 3-lap qualifying session, which I love. I love short qualifying sessions. Get it in, get it done. But then
this is the best part.
Yeah. So the qualifying shootout for class with 15 or more, let's make sure there's lots of them with 15 or more. You guys are going to take the top 5. You re-rack them 1 lap. 1 lap.
I love pressure.
No, me too.
And it's another teaching opportunity for our kids.
Yeah.
Right? In business and in life to perform under pressure. So there'll be a warm up or an out lap, and it's 1 lap. And guess what? There's only the top 5. It's truly going to be about the driver. There's not going to be any drafting, right? Steve will be our grid guy.
Yep,
he's going to separate these guys by whatever, 10 seconds. So it's all on the driver, all in 1 lap. And we're going to put more points on qualifying than we've ever done in the past. Exciting.
Yeah, I think it's super exciting. It's going to be fun. People are going to be on the fence watching it. Or looking at their phones, right? Mobile devices, watching race monitor, race hero, whatever you use. I think it's going to be. I love it. That's amazing. Where I do want to go next, we talked about the sponsors already. One of the things I kind of want to get into real quickly, just your overall series approach and the culture, but I want to talk about the staff because I think obviously time they're kind of the forward-facing connections, right? They're your personalities, your brand managers, they're your ambassadors. They're the people that really sell the culture. Who do you got put together? Can you go through some of the staff that you have? I know you've put together some people that have been with you around you for quite a while.
It really hasn't changed that much.
Okay.
Which is, I wouldn't be doing this if it had changed a lot.
Okay.
Rick and Al, Rick is running tech. Al Weisensell, Rick Jump. Al Weisensell is running tech with Rick. I'll be bringing in Emily Lemke. Right, we're scanning tires every session.
Yeah.
So Rick and Al are going to be busy. Emily will help, and Emily's worked with Route 66. She's done a great job. So really, tech is the part that I know nothing about. Anybody who knows me knows I wouldn't know what a head is from a cylinder. I don't want to be involved. In fact, I'm really not going to be involved in the operations during a race event. I've got my son and I've got our own little race team.
That's the way to do it. That's it.
So I'm hands off. Something happens that I need to talk to somebody, whatever. I'm there, but I'm completely removed from the operations. So the other key people, Jill Dean, which I mentioned earlier, is my operations manager. She's really doing everything in the background. She has been since January. She's really working her tail off, and don't tell anybody this, but I'm really underpaying her.
She's lovely. Perfect.
Yeah. So I need to make that good, and I'll do my best. And then her husband, Dan Dean, will also be working. So basically Jill and Dan will be working the trailer registration. They'll do some, the scale line, just wherever we need to do things. We are going to sell fuel through the series at the 2 Wisconsin events. So an example of trying to drive costs out, typically a 5-gallon pail of fuel is $100. We're trying to target $60 or a 40% price decrease on fuel. So Jill and Dan will be taking care of that. Nate Dean, their son, and Carter Pease will be doing our broadcasting.
Yep.
A couple of young guys, love racing, understand the sport. That's going to be awesome. Patrick Olson, who did race director last year for the series, he's back. And then his whole staff, Porter, Brian, Preston, they're all 3 back. So that whole on-track staff is the same. Steve Everett will be our grid guy. Bob Kreppen will do scale and a few other things. So that whole staff that was there last year is back. Basically the Coyens needed a little bit of a break, right? It was just a lot of their life has been spent between Route and USBKS.
Yeah, indeed.
So yeah, we've got the same crew. I'm excited.
And there's a cool thing is when you have the consistency like that, they know each other, they work as a team well. I'm sure you got to be excited for for Newcastle. It's not that far away, Chris. It's like 6 weeks. Get some...
Okay, you don't have to repeat that.
I shouldn't beat on you right now.
Yeah. So speaking of 6 weeks, we are going to be bringing registration online here in the next few days.
Okay.
Just because I know I'll forget this. We're going to be using Race Select.
All right.
Race Select will be our registration platform for all 4 route races. We're actually going to use them for some of the tech tools as well. So we've been working very, very hard with Race Select to get everything built that Route 66 needs. I would say within the next week or just over a week, we'll have registration open. I mentioned earlier that if you sign up for 2, 3, or 4 events, the discount will be down to $255. I don't know exactly what that deadline is, but somewhere around May 1st. So there's a one chance to get that, right? If you register between when we open up and somewhere around the beginning of May, that will be the price.
Okay.
So
okay. And we'll make sure we have that on eCard news, folks. If you're looking for that, we'll work with Chris. We'll make sure we have the link. We'll put it all through. We'll have it up on the website, and that way we'll have it on social media as well. So yeah, registration through Race Select, as you said. Again, we're 6 weeks away. It seems to be like everything's coming together. You got a chance to mention some of the big teams and the big operations that have come on board. Some just family members and racing, people that have, parents that have stepped up to want to support this. It was interesting. You and I talked before about the fact that MPG Motorsports, Chase was really honest with you that they probably weren't going to run Route 66 this year, but now they're on board. That's got to give you some kind of a feeling of positivity and momentum when you get some of the people, the bigger players who weren't coming that are now coming, who are of course then going to be like spokespersons for you, right? It seems like the momentum is there.
It took the wind out of my sail when we were at Audubon and Mark and I basically had a verbal, and I went and asked Chase, what does the series need? Basically, it needs a few things, but it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to be there. I mean, that was a gut punch, man.
I guess it would
big
be
time.
Yeah.
So I'm forever indebted to Chase and Billy Vincent for changing their mind and not only saying that they'll race, but they've partnered with us and they've invested in the series. And there's others. I never really went through the rest. I'm going to just read them off real quick. But
please.
A lot of these guys haven't necessarily been partners with the series. And as I read these quickly, please go to the webpage and look at who these people are. They're investing their money, their hard-earned money. Allison Racing Engines, BBS Racing Engines, QuickSim, Millrock, Kart Circuit Audubon, Mac Paving, Whiteland Raceway Park, One Power Sports, MPG, like we've talked about, Mike Doty Racing. Mike's become a really good friend. I don't know that Mike Doty is going to actually bring people to Route 66, but he wants to see us succeed.
Yeah.
Perkins Construction, B&B Electric, D&J Holtz Driver Development, Technicart, Cartlift. Did I go through these before?
You already did, but do it again. I like it.
All right, Comet Car Sales,
Fires me
Alpha
up.
Oil, yeah. So I did. I apologize. I forgot, but we can't do it without these guys.
No.
So we need to support them. We need to thank them. God knows I'm trying to thank them as often as I can.
Chris, what does a successful season look like for you? Let's kind of wrap it up with that. Obviously, you're getting out of the way. Are there numbers you need? Is it smiles that when people are leaving? Is it it's obviously this sport is supposed to be fun. David Cole likes to use the term the sport is what you make of it, right? It's different things for different people. At the regional level, it doesn't have to be the same as it has to be for people at the national level or trying to become professionals. Regional racing is really about, for a lot of people, they're kind of end racing, the high quality of racing, or it's a chance for club racers to kind of step up to the next level. To me, I think success can probably be gauged by people, packing up the trailer, having a cold beer and being happy as heck on Sunday night.
Yeah. So it's still a business, right? It can't run in the red. It's got to run in the black. Yeah. So we're very focused on that. But the measuring stick is what you're saying. It's at the end of the weekend, Are people going to leave saying, I'm never going to be back to a route race? Or are people leaving smiling, right? We want to get people out earlier Sunday. We want the day to end a little bit earlier Saturday so we can enjoy dinner, right? We've got some games, some competition. We're actually going to give away a pair of tickets to the Indianapolis 500 on Saturday night. And that will be based on winning one of the games that you got to sign up for. So there'll be more details on that. So it's about having fun. And if people can leave, do I want 100 people to show up? No, I don't, right? We'd like to see some strong numbers. But if we had however many came, if people left and had fun and said, we're going to go tell our friends to come race Route 66, then we've had a wonderful success.
Yeah.
So the measuring stick for me, it's fun. If people leave saying they had fun, and obviously, the safety thing is big, right? I think that ties into the whole respect as well.
Agreed.
People are not doing this sport to have their kids get hurt or to spend a lot of money having to replace go-karts. We've got to clean up that sport. We can't be doing bonsai passes. We can't be punting people from behind. All that stuff that drives me crazy, we want to clean that up. If we can clean up the driving so people have fun, we were successful for the year.
I love it. And listen, you mentioned the fact that it is a business. And I think that's one of the things that I'm one of the people that push us on. You kind of want to make sure that the person that's running your races is making money. Because if they're making money, they're doing the right thing because the customers are happy. It's just like any kind of business, right? If your customers are happy and they're buying your product, it should be profitable. So ideally, you'll be a profitable company. It'll work well. People will be happy and they'll keep coming back. The more people you have, the better. And you said it, word of mouth is very, very, it's a very powerful thing, especially if you've come out of the gate strongly at Newcastle. I have a feeling that the opening rounds could be pretty big. I have a feeling.
I hope so. Yeah, it'll be awesome. And every event's got something fun planned. We're going to have a band. We're going to do some fancy cookouts. A lot of people are doing what they can to make sure that we succeed. We're still looking for partners. If somebody has an interest in partnering with the series, love to have you on board.
There it is. Yeah, feel free to reach out to Chris, folks. You can reach out to us as well. We'll be able to hook you up with Chris if you're looking for a series to get connected with. This is a big one, obviously. It's kind of Wisconsin, Indiana, a couple different mini series we've talked about as well. This is going to be a fantastic series for that part of the country for sure. And again, I think the coolest thing is it's still Route 66, but you have put so much of yourself into it, your concepts in it, your pillars as you've talked about. It'll be really interesting because it'll have a little bit of a different feel, even though it's a lot of the same people. You'll be able to inject some of your own thoughts into it as well. So I think it's going to be a really kind of a new chapter for this great program.
Yep. Thank you.
Chris, thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Thanks, folks, everybody.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Chris Kardashian, Route 66 Sprint Series. If you're in there, I clicked the website link down there, route66kartracing.com. Go check it out. As soon as they open up the registration, we'll let you know. At that point, you will be able to dial things in from there. Folks, we do really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you so much on behalf of Chris Kardashian. My name's Rob Howden.